Just as inspecting playground equipment and other materials, checking food labels, and keeping on top of product recalls are all your responsibilities to keep the children safe, so is properly storing, handling, and disposing of medication. Keep all medication out of the reach of children, but also make sure it's in a place where you can easily get to it when the child needs it. If you work at a program already approved to give medication, check your approved healthcare plan to see where the medication is kept. For family-based programs, it might work best to keep the medication in your program area, like the kitchen, where you can supervise the children while getting and giving the medication. Daycare centers or larger programs often use the director's office or another locked office that has limited access. You'll also need to think about where to keep medication that is given in an emergency or when the child needs it quickly, like an inhaler for asthma or an EpiPen. Emergency medication needs to be kept out of children's reach, but also needs to be kept near the child who may need it. You may want to keep this medication in your emergency bag so you have it in case you need to leave the program quickly. Let's talk about how to store medication safely. You may want to keep medication in a cabinet with a child-resistant latch or at the rear of a high shelf. Some medication can be affected by temperature, moisture, and light, so keep it in a cool, dry, and dark place. Some medications, especially many liquids, require refrigeration. The easiest way to do this is by using a small, separate refrigerator. This refrigerator could have a lock or be placed in an area that is not accessible to children. If this is not an option for you and you need to store medication in your food refrigerator, you need to keep it separate from food in a leak-proof container. Whenever you use your refrigerator to store medication, check it daily to make sure it is at a safe temperature between 36 and 46 degrees. Medication may lose its effectiveness if it gets too warm or too cold. You also need to be prepared to handle controlled substances. All controlled substances should be kept in a locked container. Always count the total number of pills or measure the liquid when you get the medication from the parent. Write this down on the log. Do not use household items to count tablets. Instead, use a disposable item like a plastic knife, a tongue depressor, or a straw. As a safe practice, keep a running count of the total number of pills or the amount of liquid used until the medication is gone or returned to the parent. Monitoring this record will alert you of any missing medication and will protect both you and the child. There may be times when you have leftover medication. You want to return medication that is expired, has been discontinued, or has an expired consent to the parent. If you cannot return a medication to the parent, the best thing to do is bring it to your local pharmacy for disposal. But if this is not an option, follow all of these guidelines. Take the medication out of its original container. The American Pharmaceutical Association recommends first crushing or dissolving the medication in water. Mix the medication with an undesirable substance, like coffee grounds or kitty litter. Place the material in a leak-proof container, such as an empty can or a plastic bag that can be sealed. Throw the container in the trash. Medication can have harmful effects on the environment, so only flush medication down the toilet if the package or insert says it's safe to do so. Your program may be approved to keep non-child-specific, over-the-counter medication called stock medication. Stock medication must also be kept in the original container and have the following information on the label or the package insert: the name of the medication, the reason for use, directions for use including route of administration, dosage instructions, possible side effects or adverse reactions, warnings or conditions when you should not give the medication, and the expiration date. Once a tool like a dosing spoon has been used, it may only be used for that specific child and must be labeled with the child's first and last names, or be discarded if no further doses will be given. Remember, the written and written rule for permissions and instructions applies for stock medications as well. You cannot stock prescription medication, including emergency medication such as an EpiPen, unless your program participates in the New York State Department of Health's fluoride program. In this case, you can keep bulk or non-child specific fluoride tablets supplied by the Department of Health in your program. Remember, whatever the medication, safe handling, storage, and disposal are part of your responsibility. Planning ahead for how you will store medication sets the framework for safe practices in your program.